For the past few years, Nigeria's food prices have continued to be on the rise amidst citizens' poor purchasing power. The situation has become more complicated with climate change and worsening violent conflicts in farming communities across most parts of Nigeria, fueling food insecurity. Despite these growing challenges, farmers have continued to struggle against all odds to till their lands, cultivate food crops, even in the face of visible and predictable dangers. The incessant attacks by herders and bandits on farmers and the destruction of both their farmland, produce, loss of livestock, and killing of peasant farmers have added to the adverse and acute food shortages being experienced. Low agricultural productions and food supply shortfalls in successive years have deepened, attaining an all-time low in the 2023-2024 farming cycle. The results are glaring. Current escalating food prices, made worsened by government economic policies such as petrol subsidy removal and the naira exchange rate, which expectedly have negative reactions on the Nigerian agro-production chain.
Now, a liter of fuel is 190 something before, but now a liter of fuel is 600 and almost 700. It's not funny. People are not finding it easy. And the issue is that come to electricity. Let them do something. Issue of electricity, no light.
Number one, in the Tinubu'S regime, Gari one mood 1,500 naira. Number two, people of 500 naira cannot cook a pot of soup any longer in Tinubu'S regime. Number three, even a suckling baby now is experiencing hardship in Nigeria.
The president, who seemed overwhelmed by the country's unabating food shortage crisis and the inability of emergency social interventions to address it, Tinubu in July 2023 declared a state of emergency on food security, a move to demonstrate his administration's seriousness about local production of agricultural produce. One of the priority agendas for achieving food sufficiency and affordability programs is the planned cultivation of 500,000 hectares of farmlands across the country to produce maize, rice, wheat, and other crops. Acting on that mandate, the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security imported 6,750 metric tons of hybrid wheat seeds for dry season farming. As if that was not enough, the president went further to direct the ministry to release about 42,000 metric tons of maize, millet, and other commodities in strategic reserves across the country to address the rising cost of food in the market. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, also donated another 2.15 million bags of various blends of fertilizers valued at 100 billion naira at current market prices for distribution to farmers as its support for the country's quest for sustainable food production. Yet, the question remains whether these policies and interventions have brought down the galloping food prices and reduced hunger in the homes.
For this country, for 1 year in office, we one basket of tomato now 40,000. We be say they go can tomato for you 5 for 500 for 600. I see they come down. You see that tomato? Do not fit go on tomato like to cook stew now, now wahala.
Supporters of the government argued that there is no doubt that the Tinubu'S administration means well for Nigeria and Nigerians, as demonstrated through the dishing out of different agricultural policies and projects to tackle high food inflation, climate change, and other challenges of food security. The country's Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, at a recent media event outlined critical policies of the government to ensure availability, accessibility, and affordability of food and food products.
In response to also the persistent food inflation, the following measures were undertaken to boost production. We distributed 60,432 metric tons of improved seeds, 887,255 metric tons of seedlings, 138 numbers of value kits, 501,726 liters of agrochemicals, 62,328 metric tons of inorganic fertilizers, 1,000 kilograms of fungicide and 33,200 numbers of different equipments to farmers across different value chains to enhance production.
Some school of thought believe in order to guarantee food security and attain any meaningful achievement in the area of economic revival, government must ensure a round peg is in the round hole, as prioritizing sustainable food production should not be a lip service, but walking the talk practice.
Food is not there. Prices of the available ones are rising. And therefore, there is seriously a need for him to actually make sure that that policy shift is put in place with respect to agriculture, to make sure that whatever intentions settlement must have in trying to actually ensure that a better food security as well as affordable food that we allow not only to have enough food to consume in the economy, but allow to enter regional, continental and global markets.
However, critics are skeptical about the seriousness of the President Tinubu's administration towards addressing the profound economic challenges currently facing the nation, especially in the area of food affordability, without first tackling head-on the unanswered question of the security of lives of farmers, their families, livestock, farmlands and produce, which is at the nucleus of the matter.
The problem is that they have good policy, but they are not intentional about it. So if you are not intentional about agribusiness, then you can never make agribusiness become productive. So until you become intentional about it. So if this administration is ready to do agriculture, the first thing they need to do is not to give us policy, but become intentional about the policies that they want to do. Yes.
The expectation of Nigerians are that whichever direction the government is headed in finding a way out of the economic downturn in the country, immediate and urgent action should be taken to push down prices of staple food items and basic household needs, which should translate to tangible reductions in poverty, hunger, disease and crimes in the society. Ngozi Onyejiakụ, AIT News, Abuja.